Hello, welcome to a little reel. Just going to mount a bicycle repair stand on my desk at the moment. I want to show you how I'm going to do it, and hopefully it'll all be make sense. This is the stand I'm going to use. I'm going to mount it straight to my desk here, which is very strong, nice piece of metal, and I'm going to tap it into the actual desk itself in order to actually mount it nice and securely. It's going to be a little low. You want to have it ideally higher than where it's going to be, but it's a case of it will I will look in the future if I need to actually raise it up a little bit further. The first thing to do is take this one apart. And see where it is I'm going to mount it. I'm going to use M6 bolts. Like that, in order to actually bolt it down. The idea of this is that I can mount and dismount the lock as I need to do. Okay, I'm going to clamp this stand in place. So that when I mark it out, it's not going to move. Now I'm going to do it is it has M6 holes already drilled in it. So now I'm going to remove the top part, that give me more room. So this way, using a 6mm drill bit, same size as the hole, I can mark up exactly where it needs to go and start the holes off. Move the clamp. And now I have 4 holes marked out as to where they need to go. First hole drilled. This work surface of mine is actually very thick, so it takes a while to do. And I use a little bit of lubricant to stop the drill bit overheating and to keep it cutting instead of binding. Nearly there. Two holes. The next thing you'll need to do is cut a thread. So you need a decent quality tap set. As you can see, the first tap is fairly smooth, so it actually pushes into the hole. So I've drilled a 7mm hole for an 8mm tap. once that one's cut through, you'll need to use the second stage, which cuts the thread a little bit deeper. At this stage the bolt would go in, but you'd have to really force it. And then finally you use the full tap, and that'll cut the proper thread in for you. What you would use to cut it is a tap handle, and that actually fits onto the tap itself. Now when you put these in, the taps are very, very hard, but they're very, very brittle. So if you snap one of these in your hole, you're not going to get it out. So be very, very careful. If it starts to get tight, type it backwards a few times, and then go back in again, back again, and if it still won't go through, put it all the way out, clean it off, and put some lubricant on it, and then go back in again. So when you're tapping the hole, you turn it in with the handle really carefully. Make sure it's all lined up before you actually put any pressure on it at all. And then you can cut the thread into the surface. Now you can put a bolt on the back of these if you've got a thinner piece of steel, but to be honest with you, my workbench is actually thicker than a bolt, so it's a case of actually you don't need to do that. You can bolt it straight into the surface. So here you can see 4 bolts in and ready to go, ready to tighten up. The only thing is the bolts I've got are a bit too long, so I'm going to shorten them down. And there's a little trick to that. So when you cut a bolt, quite often you find you can't get the nut on it afterwards and it won't go in. So the best way of doing it is by putting a nut on the bolt up above where you're going to cut, and then when you cut, what will happen is and you undo the bolt, it'll actually restore the thread as it comes off. I will also use my grinder in order to actually put a nice end on the bolt as well. A grinder can take 2 different types of discs. There's a cutting disc and a grinding disc. It's really important not to get them mixed up. The grinding disc is designed to grind on the edge, and there's a fixed stone like that. That's in order to actually smooth down metal, in order to actually get rid of, say, wells or burrs or anything else like that. The cutting disc is much, much thinner, and it's designed to be used edge on like that in order to actually cut into things. If you try to grind with a cutting disc, you're going to break something, probably yourself. Grinding disc on there is just too thick to cut. Okay, the bolt is in the vise, safety glasses on. Nice and easy, just like that. So if I try and put a bolt onto the end of this one now, it's going to be hot. You'll see that it just won't turn on. It's just a pain in the neck. So as you can see at the moment, I've got a little bit of burr on the end. So first of all, before I take the nut off and clean the thread up, by doing so, I'm going to put it onto my grinder. As you can see, the bolt now has a nice end on it. So if I take this one off, any threads that are damaged it will repair on its way off. As you can feel, it just gets a little bit tight as they're coming out. and then when I try and put it back on again, it goes on, no problems at all. So there you go, 4 shortened bolts, 4 holes. You can also see, if I can get the camera to focus on it, the threads that are cut within the desk. There we go. And there you are, bolted down. Is it strong, I ask you to say? Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Let me put it all back together again and you can see how it all looks. Ready for the next bike.